Morning everybody, welcome to the channel. It's a beautiful day here in Washington State, so I'm working on the 4Runner again. Probably it's going to be my main project until I get a good running base, and it'll be my daily driver until I kind of break it in and figure out what all I need to fix. So as you can see, Challenger is in the garage. I did a little mod a couple weeks ago that I thought was pretty cool. I'm kind of a nerd, so I like movies, and especially 80s movies, and one that was really big for me was the Goonies. And I go down to Astoria every year to just kind of hang out and have a nice little vacation there for their Goonies festival. And I generally have some sort of Goonies sticker on my car. With the Challenger, I did not want to do anything gaudy or just silly, so when I did my tint on the taillights, I had noticed another vlogger had done a vinyl wrap in the center of the taillights with a sticker behind it that made it kind of embossed. So I did that with the skull and crossed swords just for my Goonies sticker on this car. So I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it. It's pretty subtle. If you're driving behind the car, which, let's face it, most people will be, you're not going to see it. But if you're walking around it, you'll catch a glimpse and then look a little closer. So I think that's kind of neat. Also, I just got an email confirmation that my wicker bill is on the way. It should be here Monday, so I'll have an install video on that. But let's get back to the 4Runner, which is my main focus today. After the long block install, I've been fighting with timing. I've been fighting with the valves, making a lot of clatter. And I've had this really weird problem where when trying to accelerate while making a left-hand turn, it'll just hesitate really bad and kind of cut out, and I'll either have to straighten the wheels out or kind of ride it out. Only left-hand turn. Right-hand turn, not a problem. I don't get it. So I did a bunch of research, and people suggested the knock sensor, so I double-checked to make sure everything looked good there, put some of that dielectric gel on the connectors, and I found one post somewhere, I don't even remember where it was, that suggested it might be a ground to the engine, and their diagnostic for it was hook jumper cables to the engine and the negative battery cable and drive around. That eliminated the problem. So now I'm going to go see if I can find out where the ground problem is. Just did the valves this morning again. I took them to 0.08 for the intake and 0.010 for the exhaust, which is the cam specs, and it still clatters a lot. So this is my first long block with new valves and a new head, so that might be normal. If anybody knows, you can post below. The other thing I'm trying to figure out is what direction am I going to go with this 4Runner. I wanted it to be a little bit of content for my channel. It's also going to be my daily in the winter for sure, because the Challenger does not go in the winter. I tried that, no good. So I wanted to mob through the snow like nobody's business. I want to stick with the 22RE. That's why I did the long block, for gas mileage, and it's just a good engine. So I'm looking at lifts right now. I'm thinking of the Old Man Emu. It's a 2-inch lift. It comes with torsion bars and steering stabilizers and all that. This suspension is tore up pretty good. It's old. I don't know if it's going to come off. I also have to do the brakes, so I'm going to do all that at once. And wheel bearings. I got to do the wheel bearings too. The other one I was looking at was a rough country. I think it's a 4 to 5 inch lift, but I think it would look pretty funny with 33s, so I'd probably have to up to like a 35, which brings in a whole new set of problems as far as gearing and power and stuff. So if anybody has any ideas or any suggestions, go ahead and post below. Right now I'm going to see if I can dive in and see where that ground problem is. Alright, well that's done. What I did was down in here, there is the ground bolt there, and I took it off, cleaned out the threads, cleaned the bolt, cleaned the terminal, took a file to the surface. Hopefully that'll make a good connection. Also, I found this nice little access panel here to get to my knock sensor, my fuel filter, and all this stuff I was having trouble with before. That would have been nice to know then. While I'm down here, you can see kind of the condition of the suspension. So it definitely needs to be addressed. So, but I'm about to go take this for a test drive, see if that fixed my hesitation problem. Well, that was a big fat negative. Still had the hesitation on left-hand turns. I have a little roundabout just down the road here that I go do my left-hand turns on, so it's very controlled. It didn't do it with the jumper cables attached, but it is now, even though I went through that whole lower part of that cable. So the battery connection looks really good, but I'll take it apart, clean it up, see if I can, I don't know, see a problem there, and we'll try that side now. Well, that was a big fat negative also. I am at a loss. I have a clean, greased connection from the engine block to the battery. I know all the terminals are clean. I know the wire's clean. The wire looks good. I don't see any breaks in it. All I did to make it not have this problem is connect a negative jumper cable to the engine and to the battery. I didn't do anything else. So it has to be in that connection somewhere. So I'm going to try moving it to another location on the engine. We'll see if that works. And after that, I guess it's just get a new wire and see if maybe somehow internally the wire is bad. So on to the next. So we're going to take it out for another test drive, see if that location makes a difference. I don't remember taking it from there. I'm fairly certain when I took that connection off, it was on the bottom where I just had it. But we'll give it a shot, see if it worked or not. So I'll be back. No. Alright, so I did the last thing I could think of, which was replace the whole battery cable. I'm going to do a quick time and then we'll try it out. If you haven't done timing on this before, I'm going to look down at that timing plate and look for a dot. I'm going to adjust it, turning this. I'm going to use this timing light, which will show when it's supposed to be firing, so I'll show you. You can see that dot down there. When I turn on the light, it's running a little advanced, which I was trying out, but I'm going to turn it back just a tad. Alright, I'm not sure I like the timing there. It seems to idle a little lower. It's got a miss in it. I don't know where it's coming from. So all the spark plugs, wires, cap, rotor, coil, all of that is new. So there's no reason it should have a miss. Anyway, I'm going to go try and see if this will turn left without stalling. So we'll give that a shot first. Alright guys, it is 3 days later now. Went through every ground that I could find on the truck, every wire I could find on the truck.
Finally, I decided I would just test the throttle position sensor, even though the symptoms it was giving me weren't what were reported for most the TPS failures. But I had to take the thermostat out anyway, so I was going to be in there. And the thermostat had a little chunk of rubber in there, so it wasn't closing all the way. That would explain why I had no heat all winter, or very little heat. So that's fairly easy. Two 12mm bolts on the top of the thermostat housing, right there on the top of the intake manifold. Your TPS is held in by these little screws. They're Phillips head screws. When you do it, you want to change it out to Allen's, because it's so hard to get a Phillips head in there, you know, even one of the short ones, and manipulate it correctly. Your TPS looks like this. It's just sitting on the side there with a little plug coming out of it. This one tested fine, but I decided to pull it anyway. And then when I was messing with it, you can see that it doesn't snap back into position very quick, if at all. So I decided to go ahead and replace it just in case. And what I did then, that weird hesitation on left-hand turn stopped, and I really don't understand why that happened. I did remember later that one of the signs of the TPS failure was when you're timing the truck and you're doing the baseline or base timing, and you're jumping that little plug that I showed earlier. The idle is supposed to drop when your TPS is going out. It won't drop. So mine did that once or twice, but not enough to like clue me in that it was I thought it was we were getting the plug or the jumper in there far enough, but it did do that. So anyway, you take there are two bolts, two little screws like this off of the side. You buy a new one. It was like $70. I bought Allen bolts that are, I think it was M4.7. I want to say I got them at Home Depot in a washer and put them in, and then it worked fine. Well, that's it for today, guys. I got that solved. Next will be probably brakes and maybe the suspension lift. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.